You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what He actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday. Happy Moon Day. We have a lot to get to today. There's already been a ton happening in our solar system this morning. The moon making a lot of different connections, but the biggest transit we'll be talking about today is a conjunction between Mars and Saturn. And boy, am I already feeling the effects of this transit. Currently, just FYI, my computer has decided to have a mind of its own. So that's a little bit fun. Bear with me if it takes me a little bit longer to do things. Today is April 4th, and some very famous Aries are celebrating their birthdays. Robert Downey Jr., Jamie Lynn Spears, maybe feeling the effects of really being an impulsive Aries right now. Maya Angelou also celebrates a birthday on April 4th. Eric Andre, Natasha Lyonne from, what's that show about prisons? You know what I'm talking about? The Women in Prison. Why can't I think of it? She's from that show. David Cross, he's a comedian. Also, Heath Ledger would have been celebrating a birthday today. So aligning with that Aries energy and celebrating another new day for all of us. Help me. Also, good morning. You know, you guys, this stream also wouldn't start this morning. Mars conjunct Saturn, and we'll go into this a little bit more in a moment. I can feel like we want to speed up and move forward. Mars wants us to, push forward, but Saturn is going to bring some roadblocks, some speed bumps, some slowdowns. And oh my goodness, I just tried to type something and I have no idea what's happening with this computer, you guys. I know this transit doesn't necessarily relate to technology, but wow, technology today it's doing something wild. Anyway, let's pull up our chart and dive right into what is happening with this conjunction and also the energy leading up to it. Good morning, Bailey. Good morning, Court. So happy to see you both here. Okay, so we have right now the moon in Taurus. Let's see if I'll be able to type in my own website today. Oh my gosh, something is going on with this keyboard, you guys. It's wild. Okay, well, here we go. While I pull this up, it's working. Fingers crossed. Put some good energy out there for me. Okay, we are here. So let's talk about what's been going on with the moon so far this morning, because it's really setting the stage for this major conjunction we have today. So the moon is still in Taurus. The moon is exalted in Taurus, and it moved into Taurus on Saturday afternoon. And you might have felt that yesterday, just kind of wanting to be in your comfort zone, wanting to be a little bit cozier, just, wanting to feel nurtured and comfortable. You might find today that it's a little bit more difficult to emerge from the cocoon that you created for yourself this weekend. That's definitely the vibe I've been feeling. Like, I got really comfortable on my couch over the weekend, and Monday it makes it a little harder to get back into the swing of things when you really find that level of comfort over the weekend, you know. So you might find yourself reaching for comfort or kind of falling back into your comfort zone today as the moon hangs out in Taurus for most of the day. Now, the moon has made some intense aspects already this morning to that conjunction between Mars and Saturn. So we're already starting to align with this energy. The moon is squaring off to Mars, then squaring off to Saturn. This happened at like 3 a.m., then 5 a.m. So we're really waking up feeling the energy of the conjunction, even though Mars and Saturn don't officially meet exactly in the sky until 7 o'clock tonight, Pacific time. So before we keep going with the moon, I just want to validate, like, if you're feeling that tension already, it's because the moon is already making aspects to Mars and Saturn. Let's talk about that conjunction though. How is that going to feel? What does it mean for us? So actually, you'll see on our chart here, Mars and Saturn are now both at 22 degrees in Aquarius. As always, this is a great time to take a look at your own birth chart, what's going on right around 22 degrees Aquarius for you, especially if you're someone who is going through their Saturn return or is about to go through their Saturn return. Pay attention to where Saturn is in your chart. If Saturn is very close to your natal Saturn and then Mars is on top of Saturn, also Venus is very close by, it could be bringing a lot of energy to whatever lessons you're supposed to be learning, maybe even a little bit of hostility or passion to whatever lessons you're supposed to be learning. So just know that if you're going through your Saturn return these weeks, Venus was conjunct Saturn last Monday, Mars is conjunct Saturn today. This 2-3 week period might feel especially intense for you. Even if you're not going through your Saturn return, it is just kind of like an intense mix of energy. And so let's talk about Mars and Saturn. Let's talk about this conjunction. Both of these planets are known as the malefic planets of our solar system. So we have sort of two categories of planets in astrology, benefic planets and malefic planets. And Jupiter and Venus are known as the benefic planets. They have a positive influence in whatever aspect they're coming into. Saturn and Mars don't really have that reputation. In fact, quite the opposite. Anytime we're talking about transits with Saturn and Mars, it's like, ooh, watch yourself. There could be some challenges coming up. There could be some impulse, hostility. Now we can talk about what happens when these two come together. And as with all transits, I really do believe there's a shadow and a light. So although it may feel like easier to go into the shadow side of this transit because these planets tend to have more of a negative connotation, I really do believe there is potential. So I'm going to explain to you the energy of this conjunction, and then I'm going to give you a little visual to work with. I think that'll be helpful as we go through the rest of the moon's transits too. So when these two malefic planets meet up, Mars wants to push forward. It has a lot of energy. It has a lot of aggression. Saturn wants us to slow down. It's going to teach us the lessons and force us to slow down if we're not learning, if we're not taking the lessons as they come, if we're not being careful, if we're not moving from a solid foundation. When the planet of aggression and the planet of lessons merge with each other, their energies blend today. So we can expect to feel a little bit irritated, whether that's because we want to move faster or we want to slow down and the energy is not meeting what our true desires are. There could be roadblocks, there could be some snags, or just like minor frustrations that feel probably a little bit bigger than they are. Our tendency, because both of these planets are meeting up in the sign of Aquarius, which has a very distant energy, kind of like marching to the beat of its own drum, off in its own little reality, because the planets are meeting up in Aquarius, it will be easier to distance ourselves if we are finding things annoying. Our tendency will be to just be like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that, and check out. Like, I don't have time for that. But beware of moving too quickly, making decisions too quickly, giving into those impulses, because be mindful too. Sometimes if you're like, no, I'm not dealing with that and I'm checking out, you can cause an emotional reaction in someone else who really is trying to tell you like they need to have this conversation with you, or they need to deal with this issue right now. So moving too quickly, making rash decisions could lead to harsh lessons or aggression even. We'll be quicker to choose anger in general under this transit. And anger, I think this is a really beautiful opportunity to talk about the fact that anger isn't always a bad thing. Oftentimes our anger is here to show us something that maybe we've been suppressing or ignoring. So if you're finding yourself angry or irritated today, why is that? What's coming up for you? How can you make yourself feel safer or find self-soothing in whatever situation you're in? Anger is just kind of a light in our head, or a siren going off saying, hey, like something is making us feel uncomfortable or unsafe a lot of the time. So be mindful of that and try to give yourself compassion. If you are feeling angry, also try to give other people compassion too. Now, those are kind of the negative potentials of this transit, right? Let's talk about the positive potential. I really feel like when Mars and Saturn come together, these are two planets often associated with leadership, with taking charge, with being in control, honestly. So I really feel like if we use the energy of this conjunction to our advantage, it will give us the perseverance and the determination to push through difficulty in the face of a challenge. We'll have the strength, we'll have the maturity to be assertive, to step up, to step into a leadership role if we are called upon to do so. Mars in Aquarius really wants us to do things differently, to take action differently. So there is a chance, because Aquarius is this very innovative, eccentric energy, that we could have a breakthrough if we stay patient, if we stay open to learning, if we go into situations knowing like, okay, what's the lesson we can pull from this? Instead of getting so caught up in the drama and our emotions and maybe the anger or frustration, being like, okay, what is this showing me? Just kind of jumping to the finish line. You know what I mean? Like, oftentimes after arguments or anger, we get there anyway. We learn the lesson anyway. So why not just try it differently this time and jump ahead to the lesson in the first place? That's kind of how I see the positive potential of this conjunction going. And I was thinking about this a lot, and I started to kind of envision, like, what does this energy look like? What does this energy feel like? You guys, if you've watched this live stream before, you've heard me talk about how I really view like Aquarius as the cloud, right? Because it's the water bearer, the sign of Aquarius, and we're talking about this conjunction in Aquarius, right? So Aquarius is kind of like the sign of the cloud. It's like up in its own little atmosphere, doing its own thing, doing things differently. It has this water quality to it, this potential to bear water like a cloud, right? But Aquarius is an air sign, so, you get it, clouds floating in the air. Also, there's kind of this connective electric component to Aquarius, and I see that as like lightning or thunder. So that, I've talked about kind of how I view Aquarius as the cloud, also the technological cloud, the ability to connect to other people through the internet, through the cloud, this energy that we're all kind of connecting into. Now, Mars and Saturn being conjunct in Aquarius, I see or visualize this as us like wading through the cloud. I know it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but bear with me here. Like in another world, we're able to like, or even like imagine a ton of fog, essentially just like clouds on the ground, Imagine what it would feel like. You can't see anything around you. You're just like wading through it, this thick cloud. You can like feel the water in the air. You can feel how thick it is around you. You can't really see what's going on outside of you. I really feel like Mars and Saturn give us the willpower to keep going through, even though it's frustrating. We can't see what's around us. It's irritating. It's probably really cold in the middle of this cloud. Maybe we're getting wet in the middle of this cloud, but Mars and Saturn are like, no, just keep going. Just keep pushing through. There will be a lesson once you get to clear air again. There will be a lesson once the sunshine hits your face again. So It's kind of the visual that's coming to me, and I think that could be helpful for you in the face of a challenge today. Let me know if that visualization comes up for you throughout the day, or come back tomorrow and let me know if that was useful. But I was trying to figure out how to explain this, and that's just what popped into my brain. So that's the main transit we're talking about today. But if we pull up our chart again, you'll also see there are two other points in the astrology wheel that are also connecting today. We have Lilith over here at 28 degrees in Gemini, and Venus over here at 28 degrees in Aquarius. Both of these are air signs, which means these are connecting in a harmonious trine, a harmonious angle. We talk about Lilith here and there. Lilith is kind of our bitchy side. She's known as kind of this rebellious part of us in the Bible, in, history, stories, whatever you want to call it. Lilith was Adam's original wife, was made as an equal to Adam. Both of them were made out of the earth. Then Lilith was like, no, I want to be an equal. I don't want to be a submissive. She kind of revolted. And then Eve was created out of Adam's rib. That's the biblical version of the story. In astrology, Lilith represents our deep desires and kind of this rebellious nature, this sovereign nature, this need to stand up for ourselves and assert ourselves. With Venus in Aquarius harmonizing, Venus is the planet of love. I really see, though, Venus often rules feminine energy. I feel like there's really this powerful well of feminine energy that we're pulling from today. This could bring out our inner rebel, especially if we feel like we're not receiving the love or effort we think we deserve. But we do have a natural ability to stand up for our values, and also standing up for ourselves today. I would say just to beware of being too harsh or hostile. Anytime Lilith is involved, we can be a little bit snappy, but this could give us like this natural ability to stand up for what we believe is right, our values. And doing so could create a shift in perspective, either for ourselves or for the people we're standing up to. We can really realize our deepest desires, express our authentic truth under this aspect as well. So that can add some fuel to the fire with this Mars Saturn conjunction, with Lilith also being involved. However, and Lilith is also forming a loose connection to Mars and Saturn too, only a few degrees off from a trine. So Lilith is definitely like, I feel like Lilith is like living inside our sacral chakra. Like she's just ready to come out and strike when she needs to. And so just beware of that. Just beware that she's there, and try to be intentional about the words you're using, especially with Lilith and Gemini. It's making us a lot more vocal with our rebellion, and that can have positives. However, if we're trying to come out of a situation peacefully, we want to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. So it is a positive aspect. It is going to allow us to reach into that powerful well more easily, use our feminine energy, our feminine power more easily. Just too much power isn't always a good thing. And Venus and Lilith connected actually exactly at 6:30 this morning. The Mars-Saturn conjunction will be at 7 p.m. tonight. So it's not all happening at the same time, but we're definitely feeling that like hostile, rebellious energy throughout the day today. Let's talk about what's going on with the moon now. So we talked about the moon being in Taurus. The moon is exalted in Taurus. The moon likes to be in Taurus. The moon in Taurus wants us to be in our comfort zone. However, this is a waxing crescent moon. We just had the new moon last Thursday night, and a waxing crescent moon wants us to plan and prepare and get ready to take action. Not necessarily start taking action yet, but get the plan together. And when the waxing crescent moon is in Taurus, we can really get grounded in whatever intentions we set under the new moon and whatever vision that we created for ourselves. This is a time to like really plant our feet in the earth and get ready to start taking action. Not doing it just yet, but just preparing, right? Getting everything in order, getting to a place where we're ready to move forward, like really feeling solid, getting solid footing. We talked about how the moon squared off to Mars and Saturn already. That happened at 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. And like I said, it only created this energy of tension and really created an emotional awareness around this Mars-Saturn conjunction that's happening for us tonight. So, you might find yourself, again, quicker to anger when the moon squares off to Mars. Or this is at 3 a.m., so you could have just woken up like a little bit restless in the middle of the night or early this morning, depending on where you live. Just kind of this inability to fully relax this morning. And then when the moon squared off to Saturn at 5 a.m., it could have brought in worries, doubts, limiting beliefs. Now, there is a saving grace here, because as the moon was squaring off to Saturn, take a look at our chart here. Of course, this is the current hour, but we'll play a little imagination. So Saturn is at 22 degrees. When the moon was at 22 degrees, it was also forming this nice supportive connection to Jupiter over here. Both of them are at 22 degrees, if you'll see. So Jupiter's influence kind of provided a silver lining, allows us to have a little bit of optimism still. It really asks us to see those opportunities for expansion and growth in challenges that might be presented today, to observe limiting beliefs, to observe worries or doubts, and kind of flip the script and say, like, okay, how can I use this to better myself? How can I use this to grow? So Jupiter's influence definitely lessened the blow of that square to Saturn, maybe kind of balanced out the doubt and the optimism first thing this morning. That was at 5 a.m. And then shortly after, 7 a.m., the moon also formed a supportive angle to Neptune, allowing us to lean into compassion, lean into our sensitivity, have some more understanding and empathy. However, with so much potential for irritation and conflict playing out really all day, but especially this morning, this aspect could have caused some confusion too. You're like, really, that metaphor of us wading through a cloud, it could have felt like, I'm just going to sit in this cloud and like I cannot make sense of anything that's happening when the moon and Neptune connect. Even though it's a positive connection, Neptune can still create some confusion or blur boundaries, or sometimes we can give people too much of the benefit of the doubt, or we can make assumptions or project our own beliefs onto a situation, maybe be a little bit more self-righteous. So Neptune can make us more sensitive in a good way, but also maybe not in a good way. So that literally all played out already this morning. If you didn't feel any tension, then the worst of it has probably passed when it comes to the moon's transits. Now, as we speak, if you look at the chart, the moon is at the same spot as the north node on our chart, 24 degrees in Taurus. And when the moon meets up with the north node, this is kind of like after this hour, we have a little bit of a lull, some downtime with the transits, which again will be very much welcome with how much activity we've had all morning. When the moon meets up with the north node, this could help us realize that lesson, get a glimpse at our purpose, align us with the path that we're supposed to walk in this lifetime. So, as much tension as we're talking about with all of these transits, there are also these beautiful aspects like the moon conjunct the north node, helping us to pull the lessons, to move forward, to keep walking the path we're supposed to walk, to keep moving in the direction we're supposed to be moving. So there really is this like saving grace with a lot of the transits, just helping us to realize where we're supposed to be going. That is happening right now. So maybe as you're watching this, if you're joining us live, you're having some realizations, helping you to align with your purpose, with what you're meant to be doing here, or this could be coming up for you throughout the day. The moon's transits move very quickly, but we can work with their energy throughout the entire day. So that's what we're feeling right now. Let me know how the energy has felt for you so far this morning, whether you're watching live or joining us after. Throw it in the comments. I'm curious how people are feeling this morning. I know Court's like, girl, yeah, I know you've been feeling it for sure. And mind you, we are also coming off of a pretty intense weekend with a triple conjunction between, actually kind of a quadruple conjunction in some ways, because the moon, sun, Mercury, and Chiron all met up in Aries over the course of like 2 days over the weekend. So that could have brought up some wounding, some healing that still needs to happen, and that could be carrying over into whatever conflict or tension you're experiencing today. It could be working through some things still that came up for you over the weekend. And like I said, sometimes it's like those angry moments, those explosive moments, those frustrating moments that are our biggest teaching moments. And wouldn't it be nice if we could just go through life without experiencing those things? Yes, absolutely. Like, no one wants to feel anger or feel like things aren't working out for them. However, just think back on your own life. Like, when have you learned your biggest lessons? What came before them? How much struggle did you have to go through to learn them? So just keep that in mind. Sometimes we can see struggle as an annoyance or a deterrent when it's really here to teach us something. It's kind of the theme of today. We have a couple more transits to talk about with the moon. Jam-packed Monday, you guys. So at 5 p.m. tonight, the moon harmonizes with Pluto, yet another transit that's kind of a saving grace for the tension we experience today. So you'll see the moon, once it hits 28 degrees, both the moon and Pluto will be in earth signs. This is allowing us to flow through transformation, to flow through change. It can also give us a penchant for extremes. We can jump to extremes more easily and be a little bit more intense anytime Pluto is involved. However, this intensity could be that like death and rebirth moment where it's like something has to change, where it's clearing everything out so we can start anew, or we can continue walking in the direction we're supposed to walk. So using this trine between the moon and Pluto to our advantage looks like opening ourselves up to connection, opening ourselves up to vulnerability, becoming willing to face our own shadows. This could be a breakthrough moment tonight. Although it could be really intense, it could provide a breakthrough or a rebirth when the moon harmonizes with Pluto. Again, that's at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And then at 7 p.m. Pacific time is when all of these transits come to ahead. Mars and Saturn will be exactly conjunct one another at 7 p.m. And then at the same time, the moon is squaring off to Venus in Aquarius, its last connection before it moves into Gemini. So we have a lot of tension right around 7 p.m. tonight. And again, this could be that pinnacle moment where something kind of explodes in order for us to learn a lesson. This can also, when the moon squares off to Venus at the same time as this conjunction, this can make us feel this like intense need for affection or for pleasure. We're going to crave feeling good. And sometimes, again, like, think about a toddler, right? A lot of times when they're acting out, it's because they really want something. And I think adults, we don't realize we do the same thing. We like get angry or throw a bit of a tantrum because we really truly want something and we don't know how to ask for it, or we don't know how to get it. So that could come up for you later tonight as the moon squares off to Venus, making us very aware of disagreement, of tension. We want harmony, but it's probably not going to be easy to come by at 7 p.m. Pacific time because, Mars and Saturn are meeting up in the sky. So I keep saying like there's a lot of silver linings here, but there is going to be tension. There is a huge potential for tension, conflict, irritation, frustration, anger today. There's also a huge potential to pull something from it. So this is going to show up for everybody differently. I would, again, really look at what's going on between 22 and 29 degrees Aquarius in your chart and between those same degrees in Taurus, and like really see if anything for you specifically is going to be activated, or maybe what area of your life, what houses are activated in your chart. And then the final transit we will talk about today, the moon moves into Gemini at 8 p.m. Thank you, fresh energy. So the moon in Gemini helps us learn things. This could be also a great time to just like learn that lesson, right? But we'll feel more social, more communicative over the coming days. We'll want to learn new information. We'll want to share our knowledge and our thoughts with others. Writing or talking through emotions when the moon is in Gemini over the next couple days can really help us process them and work through them. So even late tonight, if something happened today and you're still trying to work through it, journaling about it, talking to someone you trust who maybe wasn't involved with it about it can really help you work through those emotions. And the moon will be in Gemini for the next couple of days, giving us plenty of opportunity to work through whatever comes up for us. Is my mouse still controlling your computer? I don't think so. That was part of what was happening for me this morning when I was trying to get on and go live. I'm trying to type things and like randomness is, I think his keyboard was controlling my computer too. Screaming into a pillow moment. Yes. And like, can we just talk about how that's actually a healthy outlet for our anger? Screaming into a pillow, like, yeah, you might feel like a ridiculous doing it in the moment, but a lot better to scream into a pillow than to scream at other people, you know? So definitely could be a screaming into a pillow moment. I'm going to let my anger fuel me. Yes, maybe, but yes. Our anger can show us what we truly desire, what's not working for us, what we really want, right? Especially under this transit. So yeah, use like anger you can view it as like gas in the tank, you know, like I need to do something about this. And it's all about intention, how you're directing that energy, where you're directing that energy, rather than just being like, I need to get this out. But like you said, I'm going to let my anger fuel me, like knowing where it's fueling you, how it's benefiting you, using it to your advantage. I would say just beware. Just beware. Like I want to put like a giant warning label on this transit. Like, yes, anger can be good, but just don't let it get the best of you today. Yes. We would say pillow, get it out of your body when you were working with the kids. Yeah, because anger like actually it can live in your body. And if it's not expressed, it can manifest as illness. It can manifest as disease. So, because really anger and sadness are kind of like one and the same, you know what I mean? It's all this like unease or unmet needs. So anyway, yes, scream in the pillow today. Healthy outlet for your anger, absolutely. Those are all the transits that are happening today. We also have the North Node starting to come into a sextile with Neptune over the next 10, 20 days. It's a long-term transit because both of these points on the chart move very, very, very slowly. So the North Node in Taurus over here at 24 degrees, we just talked about this a moment ago because the Moon and the North Node are at the same point in the sky right now. And then Neptune over here in Pisces. So these 2 points on the chart will connect over the next 2 weeks. We'll talk about this more, but just know that that's happening in the background. And it's allowing us to use our imagination, to use our empathy, compassion, our sensitivities to push in the direction we're supposed to go, to get closer to our purpose. So just know that we are being supported by that aspect as well. There's a lot of support for us. There's a lot of tension, but there is a lot of support for us. Bobby Boucher style. Exactly. Does he scream into a pillow, or he does that like angry thing where he like screams before he tackles someone, right? We're talking about the water boy, yes? This comment section. Yeah. Just get all of your anger out in the comments so you don't take it out on other people today, for sure. Screaming into a pillow is a regular part of my wellness regimen. I love that so much because you guys, if you know Riva, she has this very like calm, balanced Libra energy. But you got to get it out. Everybody has anger, even those of us who have beautiful wellness routines and really take good care of ourselves. Everybody has anger. It is a natural human emotion. Okay, let's do an overview of what's going on today, and then we will pull a card. So today we have an intense conjunction between... We got to start over. I don't know what happened there. Don't know what happened. Technology today is being a little feisty. I'm going to blame it on the conjunction, just, you know, me wanting to go too fast and Saturn being like, slow the heck down. Okay, so start over. Hopefully it doesn't cut me off again. Mars and Saturn meet up in Aquarius today, and this can make for conflict, intensity, aggression, irritation, frustration. These are both known as the malefic planets of our solar system. Both of them have a negative connotation to them. So it could feel like we want to move forward, we have this energy, we want to push ahead, but Saturn's influence on top of Mars is telling us to slow down, forcing us to hit those speed bumps, forcing us to learn the lessons along the way. And like, yes, that is irritating. The moon is also squaring off to Mars and Saturn, only adding to the conflict. Venus and Lilith are harmonizing with each other, allowing us to tap into that powerful inner well more easily. We just want to be careful with how we're using that power, especially when it comes to our words, how we're speaking. It can be a little bit more bitchy or more aggressive when Lilith is involved. Now, the moon is also harmonizing with Pluto today. So we have a lot of energy around us, helping us move through transformation, helping us learn the lessons, helping us to alchemize whatever our anger or frustration is showing us. But we're not going to be able to bypass the difficulty on the way. Just remember that our greatest pain points are often our greatest lessons. So if there's conflict or irritation coming up for you today, we can use this Mars-Saturn conjunction to our benefit by pushing through, by stepping into a leadership role, by doing things differently with both of these planets meeting up in Aquarius, the sign of innovation, of eccentricity, asking us to try things differently. And, by the end of the day, we could have a completely different perspective. Really, the question of the day today is, what is your anger teaching you? What is your anger here to teach you? What is your frustration here to teach you? What is your sadness here to teach you? What are these roadblocks that keep coming up here to teach you? Everything is a lesson today. Saturn loves to teach us lessons. So look for the lessons today. It'll help you move through tension more easily if you can just pull the lesson from it, right? It's a lot happening today. It's really hard to get into just like one short synopsis, honestly, because there's so much going on. And, actually, before we pull a card, we'll see if my mouse wants to work, but I want to just give you a preview of the rest of the week really quickly, because this probably is going to be our most intense transit and intense day of the entire week. So once we get through Monday, things will get a little easier, but we still have some stuff to talk about the rest of the week for sure. So here's a look at what's coming up with the planets. Today, of course, we have Mars conjunct Saturn, as we've just talked about. Tomorrow, though, Venus enters Pisces. I can't wait for tomorrow because it's going to bring a lot more sympathetic, romantic, beautiful, just spiritual, lovely energy when Venus is in Pisces for the next few weeks. Very much welcome. And also help us return to love. You might even be feeling a little bit more romantic with Venus in Pisces. On Wednesday, all we'll be talking about is the Gemini moon, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a boring forecast because the Gemini moon gets very busy on Wednesday. So we'll talk about that later this week. Thursday and Friday, Mercury is forming a sextile to Saturn, then Mars, so it can really help us continue to process anything that came up earlier in the week, or talk through anything that came up, write through, journal anything that came up in the week, really process whatever lessons we're learning and whatever direction we're supposed to be going, whatever actions we're meant to take, especially because we have the first quarter moon in Cancer on Saturday, and that's going to invite us to take action. That's going to ask us to start to get the ball rolling on things. And we can do so from a very compassionate, nurturing place because this first quarter moon will be in Cancer. And then on Sunday, Mercury enters Taurus. So we have another major planetary movement on Sunday. Again, helping us speak and think from a more grounded place. Mercury is in Aries right now, and we're kind of like, squirrel, go, do. Our mental state is kind of impulsive and erratic and all over the place. When Mercury enters Taurus, it's like, okay, we can really get grounded in our thoughts and move a little bit more slowly, which is often helpful. And then here's what's going on with the moon. The moon is in Taurus today. The moon moves into Gemini tonight. We'll be open to more information. We'll be open to talking, writing, communicating with other people as well through Wednesday. Then the moon moves into Cancer on Thursday and Friday. And the moon's at home in Cancer, so it can feel like an emotional return to ourselves as well. We'll really crave security, safety, also our comfort zone. All week, it'll really be kind of like this back and forth between pushing us out of our comfort zone and coming back to our comfort zone. That's kind of how I see the energy playing out with the moon. We talked about the first quarter moon on Saturday, and then the moon moves into Leo on Sunday as we work towards that full moon next weekend. So we'll be talking through all of this throughout the week. I just like to give you guys a little bit of a preview of what's to come, so you're prepared for it. You know that today is probably going to be the most intense day, and the rest of the week will be just probably processing all of it. All right, let's go ahead and pull a card. So I haven't pulled from this deck in a while. It's my first deck. It's one of my favorite decks, the Lightworker Oracle by Alana Fairchild. I don't pull from it often because it has really long descriptions, but today feels like a day where we could definitely use a little extra guidance. So as I'm shuffling, as I am pulling a card, this is your chance to let me know how the energy is feeling for you, to let me know what plans you have today, maybe your intention for using all of this aggression that we have to work with. Again, though, it could be like just this determination to step up, to push through, to keep going. Mars and Saturn can give us the patience and endurance to do that. So, you'll probably see a lot of negativity about this transit today, and for good reason. However, I always like to find the silver lining and figure out how can we actually use this to our advantage. Okay. Whoop, there's our card. Ooh, I've never pulled this card before. Makes me so excited. We got card number 29, the Pink Rose of Lady Nada. The Pink Rose of Lady Nada. I love this so much already. I don't even know what it means, but it just feels right. Okay, so card number 29, if 29 is an important number to you. And here's what it means. You are in the midst of a heart healing, a healing of the fears and anxieties that have held you back from enjoying your full magnificence. Lady Nada is here with all her gentle power, washing you in soft pink light. All anger, fear, sadness, bitterness, disappointment, and hurt are soothed into love and peace. She brings you a sign of your future blossoming into deeper love. The Pink Rose of Lady Nada is a spiritual gift from higher guidance. It brings love, healing, strength, and compassion to your heart. You may be burnt out or feeling anger, fear, depression, chronic fatigue, or compromised wellness. Perhaps your heart is so tired that you struggle with compassion fatigue, finding it difficult to care, even though your nature is one of deep compassion and kindness. Or perhaps you've put your heart and soul into something or someone and feel your efforts have been cast aside or taken for granted. Perhaps you are processing a great loss. Whatever the reason, Lady Nada has come to comfort your soul. Your pain will pass and your suffering will be alleviated sooner and more gently than you might think. The Pink Rose of Lady Nada unfolds as an energetic gift, gently pulsing with love and beauty within your heart chakra. It brings you comfort, gentle emanations of divine love, and reassurance that you are so wonderful just as you are. Lady Nada is saying, how much I like you, dearest child of light, how deeply I love you. I send love and acceptance to you now so that you may come to love and like yourself with all the compassion, kindness, and unconditionality I feel for you. If there is anything or anyone you need to forgive, this gift from Lady Nada will empower you to do so. Your ability to forgive won't make you a doormat for others. It will free you to leave the past behind. So let other people's choices about their learning rather than your value. And choose to love yourself now. Let other people's choices be about their learning rather than your value, and choose to love yourself now. If you are at a troublesome point in your life, remember that despite the thorns, the rose has an exquisite perfume. It is a powerful and wise soul that chooses a path that truly challenges them. But out of those challenges, great empowerment can be developed. Do not despair if you seem far from the light. You are simply traveling through darkness for a time. Your inner light is strong enough to see by, even in the darkest times. Still, that time will end soon, and you shall realize exactly how much you have grown through the experience. You will find your way into peace and happiness. Trust in your own light within and the loving kindness of Lady Nada's blessing now. It is enough to lift you into the light of love and peace. Come back to that love, to the pink rose unfolding in your heart whenever you feel lost. Some challenges are meant to help you to grow into your ability to love without condition, to surrender to the divine. Even when things don't seem to make sense, you undergo such challenges because you are capable, powerful, and wise. The universe loves you so much. It is guiding you into your most beautiful destiny every day. Release guilt and fear. Know that you are love. Always have been, always will be. Guidance is sharing with you now that whatever your struggles may be, they will soon reveal themselves to be nothing more than steps along your path to the sweetest blossoming of your soul. Be patient. Rest with this rose light in your heart, dear soul, for healing energy is flowing into you now. Trust your heart to overcome any pain. It will indeed heal, open up, and love even more powerfully than before. Such is the courage of your heart. I mean, I don't even need to say anything about that because it was just so on point with everything we've talked about today. And this card actually flew out as I was shuffling, which is always a great indicator that it's a message that really wants to come through strongly. You know what's wild, Court? Okay, I love all of this. So interesting that we grow and realize that the challenging times initiate us into the new ways. It's such a bittersweet experience, both grateful and annoyed, absolutely. And so resonant, absolutely. Like yourself, potent. Yeah. It's funny because that actually came up for me this weekend. I was having a conversation that was a little bit intense, and I was like, do you like yourself? And it's, yeah, we can be like, love yourself, love yourself. And that kind of can seem a little bit esoteric for some people, like just love yourself. But do you like yourself? Do you actually like yourself? That is the question. That's what's been coming up for me. And this card is reminding us that there's so much love around you. You were created exactly to be who you're supposed to be. Why wouldn't you like yourself? Why wouldn't you love yourself? Why wouldn't you be over the moon that you got to come to this earth at this time in this healthy, beautiful body to help other people, to share your light, right? So it's not just about loving yourself. It's about really, truly liking yourself too. Loving all the roses and the hearts, deep and raw. Yeah, I told you these. I love this oracle deck, the Lightworker Oracle, but they have really, really long captions. So I don't often do them on the show because it feels like I'm reading for 5 minutes straight. But we needed this today. I knew we needed it today. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for today's episode of Transits Today. We'll be back tomorrow morning to talk all about Venus moving into Pisces, a much more rosy forecast, I have a feeling, for tomorrow. And also still working out exactly what time you guys want me to come on here and be live. I did some polls last week and I got split 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. responses. So if you're watching this now, let me know down in the comments below when is the best time for you to tune into these live, or if you would just rather me do them earlier so they're ready for you whenever you wake up and you want to watch. Let me know. I'm always open to your feedback and input. And still working on rolling out some new things for you all, so stay tuned for that later in the week. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so we can monetize this page and keep these forecasts coming to you for free every single day. We will end with our affirmation of the day, and that is, I navigate tension with grace and ease. I navigate tension with grace and ease. So much love for you. I love you. Your guides love you. The universe loves you. Deep down, you love you. But do you like yourself? Work towards that today. Sit with that today and know that there's so much love all around you all the time. I will see you right back here tomorrow morning for another episode of Transits Today. We also have a fun conversation all about human design coming up tomorrow on The Spiritual Journalist. That will be tomorrow afternoon at 1:11 p.m., so stay tuned for that. I love you all. Thank you for showing up for yourself today. Thank you for showing up for this community today. Until I see you next, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.